Welcome, everybody. Let's get started. This is Growth OS for Claude Cowork. This is the quick start, and we're going to jump right in. So, my name, if you don't know, is Russ Henneberry. I'm a founder of theCLICK. We are an AI marketing training. We have a community over here in Slack that is just amazing for our Click Pro members. And we're over here building and building and building. And we do team training. So we train teams on how to use AI and implement it, do consulting, do workshops for companies around this stuff. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be installing Claude Cowork and then installing the Growth OS plugin inside of it that will set up your business right away to have the structure proper inside of Claude Cowork so that this thing just starts doing wild stuff. If you're a Click Pro member, probably already installed this plugin. And the things that people are knocking out and posting inside of this Slack channel, and they're helping each other out. Yesterday, I know Stacy Lynn's on here. She had a technical problem, and there was some awesome people in there, and they got her unstuck so that she's using Claude again. It's really, I'm just so excited about everything that's going on with this AI stuff. There has been a massive jump, and this jump is represented on the screen right now. So take a look at this. This is chatbots back in 2022, right? We got chatbots, and everybody was like, "Whoa!" Like this thing can write, it can talk, it seems to understand what you're talking about. And it was pretty wild. But honestly, at the end of the day, in 2022, like 2023 was a year of frustration for me when it came to AI. Like trying to get it to do things was really, really hard. And then they came out with the reasoning models. And these reasoning models were able to think through things and make choices and make plans and stuff. And as soon as they got there, that was the unlock, the thing they needed to unlock to get to agents. And that's where we are today. So we have true agentic behavior inside of AI. This is not just a little improvement in AI. This is not a little improvement. This is a complete change in the way that we work. Like, if those of you that are using Claude Cowork know what I'm talking about, that there is something has changed. And we're going to go through some of that today. But when you install Claude, it's a desktop app. So I'll show you it. If you haven't used it before, it's a desktop app, and you have this little selector. Let me grab my little Claude here. So it looks like this, and there's a selector up here, and you see this little selector is called Cowork, and you see I'm working in a desktop app. I'm on a Mac, but you can run this on a PC as well. And so you have this little tab called Cowork, and that's what we're going to be playing around with today. When you use this selector and you select Claude Cowork, here are a few things to keep in mind. It's a desktop app. It's a little bit buggy. So sometimes one of the things that's happening in the Click Pro Slack group is we are just complaining that Claude Cowork is being buggy and it's doing this stupid thing and doing that stupid thing. But sometimes it fixes it to do the old unplug it and plug it back in thing, right? So just start a new task completely. And what I mean by that is Claude works through tasks. So if you start a new task, sometimes that will fix whatever little buggy thing that's going on. Sometimes you just have to quit Claude altogether and just start over. It's still a little bit buggy. Now, on top of that, it updates every day, sometimes multiple times a day. It's adding features, it's adding things that Claude is capable of connecting to, which we're going to get to in a second. And it adds capabilities, like things that it's able to do. Now, why do I think you need to be using Claude Cowork? The reason is because when I think about my AI and what I want to be using, I'm thinking about three major components. The first one is security. Is this thing going to delete my machine, delete all the files off my machine? Is it going to send emails that I didn't tell it to? Is it going to go rogue on me and start doing things on my computer? I don't want that. I also don't want something that's super complex. Like, I don't want to work in this like an environment that feels like I'm building software. Like that's not the type of work I do. And then I want power. Like I want maximum AI power as much as I can get while still getting some security and getting that simplicity as well. And for me, right now, Anthropic was the first company to get there where they had this sweet spot right in the middle where there's security here, there's simplicity here, and there's extreme power. Now, a lot of people are talking about OpenClaw. They're talking about all kinds of like open source agents. And there's no question about it. They have more power, like that there's more power there. The problem is the security and the simplicity on that side. I'm not recommending to anybody to go and install OpenClaw and try to set that up. If you're curious about it and go set it up, more power to you. But I think most of us are going to be working in this sweet spot where you have a secure AI that's pretty simple to use that has as much power as it can possibly have. So that's why I think this tool is the one to be using. And it's going to be the one that a lot of businesses are going to be using. So a lot of the people that are on this call, maybe not you, but a lot of people sell services to people like marketing services and training and consulting and coaching and stuff like that. And learning Claude Cowork is going to be, it already is, a valuable skill as other companies need to understand how to set this up. And that's what we're going to do today. So a few core concepts. What some of the things that have changed are in this current agentic world, we describe what we want. We don't necessarily need to give it all the instructions as to how to get something done. We want to tell it what we want. Like tell it the outcome that you want and let Claude figure out how to get you there. So what you want to do is describe what you want, give it all the information that it needs to do that work, and connect any tools that it's going to need. And that's a biggie here is that we're able to connect to external tools here. And it's not super techy, right? Like if you're sitting here thinking, wow, this feels really like I'm going to have to know all kinds of things about development and APIs and all that stuff. And you can certainly go there if you want. If that's something you like, you can go into that world and you can get super techie around it. But for those of us that are not techie, the AI is going to connect to this for you, right? It'll just go do it for you. Like, and that's happening more and more and more. The second big idea is to move slow and fix things. So Mark Zuckerberg said, years ago, he said, our strategy at Facebook and Meta is to move fast and break things, move fast and break things. I'll tell you that with this, we want to move slow and fix things. And I'll explain to you why. So moving slow and fixing things is how you start to basically, pick up insane amounts of efficiency while you're growing your business. So what you do is you have an idea about something you want to do with your AI, and you go and you explain what you want, and it goes out there and it runs a turn, it makes an attempt to do what you said, and it does something wrong. Well, then you fix it, right? You tell it, I don't like how you did that. Or it fixes itself, right? And so if you tell it, I don't like how you did this, it will go and change how it does it. It will write a new set of instructions to fix whatever you told it to fix. Then you go run it again and it makes a mistake again, a different one this time. You fix that and then you do it again. And then eventually you will never have to do that again. And you'll never have to do that task ever again because the AI will have the instructions that it needs and you can always adjust them on the fly. You can just tell it, like, I wanted you to do it this way this time. I want you to do it that way. I want you to do it this way all the time. And it just learns as you go. You'll see if you haven't played with these tools, you'll see what I'm talking about. It just starts to learn on its own. That's part of what makes it agentic. So we want to let Claude cook. I say all the time in the Click Pro group and on Click Pro calls when we're all together, I often say, let Claude cook. Like just tell it what you want and let it cook. I got this cook thing from my son because he says, well, let it cook, let it cook. So let Claude cook is what I mean when I say, just let it go. Like, let it run, like tell it what you want and then let it try to figure out how to get you there. Move slow and fix things. And then the last one I call audit the build. So it's also part of moving slow and fixing things is after you're finished building something with Claude, one of the things that you can tell it is, I want you to go back and look at what you built and I want you to fix things. I want you to optimize things. I want you to clean it up, right? Just saying that will ask what it does is Claude will go back in there and it'll look around and it'll find places where it could have done things better throughout the build process. And then, so I like to feel like, okay, I'm done with that workflow. This is something that I do all the time and I want this nailed down and I want it then optimized. So the last thing I often do with an AI when I'm working through a process is I say, hey, go back, look for duplicates, look for dead files, broken references, inefficiencies. So 10 minutes of cleanup, just let it go and clean everything up. I actually just did this with my Claude Cowork this morning. I said, I want you to just go in there and do some housekeeping. I'll just keep my folder clean in there. What do I mean by folder, right? Like, what are you talking about? Well, here's the deal. Like your AI, when you work with these agents, plugs into your files, like it plugs into your hard drive. So when I work with Claude Cowork, I'm not just working with a chatbot that's caught and siloed anywhere. I can work with an AI that can create files, it can edit files, it can reorganize files. So if I go into Claude Cowork and I say work in a folder, I can choose a folder. Like I built this little folder here. Let's call it. So I just got off a call with some awesome Click Pro members that run a business called Lucy Darling. And Lucy Darling is, I'm going to show you Lucy Darling, guys. This is lucydarling.com. They have an awesome, I've known these guys for a while and it just now got off a call with them and had a great call. This is Kevin here and his kids, and they run Lucy Darling, which has amazing like products and things like that for kids and for people that have young families. And it's a great little business. And so I'm going to build something around this business today, just as an example. And so I've got this Lucy Darling folder. And if I tell Claude, like, hey, I want you to work inside of this Lucy Darling folder, we're going to work on this Lucy Darling business. It's going to say, okay, do you want to allow Claude to change files in this folder? And I say, yeah, go ahead. Oops, I picked the wrong folder. What happened to Lucy Darling? Okay, so it's going to ask if I want to allow. So this is what I mean, guys, when I say security. Okay, so when I say security, when I say here, I say security, this is what I mean. This AI is allowed to work inside of that folder and that's it, right? It's only allowed to make changes inside this folder. And that is a guardrail that you're going to want. Next step, I've got my business. I got built a little folder. And what I would encourage you to do is to build your own folder. Just put it on your desktop for now. You'll just put it on your desktop and you can name it either the name of your business, or a lot of people will build a folder that just says Growth OS, but you just need an empty folder. I'm going to work in this Lucy Darling folder. You can see there's nothing inside of it, nothing at all. And now what we need to do is go get the plugin that we're going to use to build out Lucy Darling as a business inside of Claude Cowork. I think, Angela, you got a link that you can give people. So when you click on this link, it's going to take you to this page on my website. I know this is annoying that you're going to have to opt in here. Most of you are probably already opted in, but please go ahead and download the plugin. So you get this link from Angela here. And this plugin, so when I go ahead and put my email address in here and I click join and download, it's going to download the plugin to my machine. Yeah, so Ash just asked a good question. So Ash said, I already installed this plugin version 1, should I install the new one? And the answer is yes, you can install this new one. It will just upgrade your plugin when you install it. Okay, so it should have downloaded a zip file to your downloads folder. You can see mine's right there. I also been building out all my recipes so that I can have those connected to a separate AI thing I'm working on. So you see that there. But like, this is that little zip file. Now, you got your little zip. Go back into Claude Cowork. I'm going to start moving a little bit slow right now as I show you how to install this plugin. So bear with me. If you've got Claude Cowork open and you've got your little zip file there on your desktop, you'll go over here to customize. There's a lot of different things you can do with Claude Cowork, but one of them, the one we're going to do today, is we're going to install a plugin. And plugin just adds additional functionality to Claude. So you're going to be able to do new things with Claude because you have a plugin. And there's a lot of people building a lot of plugins right now. What I will tell you is be careful which plugins you plug into your Claude, because if you don't trust the person that built the plugin, you are installing essentially something into your Claude here. It's not as invasive as installing software or something with malware in it, but people are doing weird things with these plugins. So get your plugins from a trusted source. Hopefully you trust me. And if you don't, then don't, feel free to not install your plugin. Yeah, Angela?
Has a question, and he wants to know if they will to replace the old one plugin.
Right. So go ahead and update the plugin. In fact, mine's going to update right now, and you'll see what happens. But all of us will follow the same process, whether you've never installed this plugin or not. If you have installed it before, it'll ask you if you want to replace it, and you'll say yes. If you haven't installed this plugin ever, you'll just go ahead and upload it. So I'm going to go to personal plugins here, and I'm going to click the plus sign, and I'm going to click on upload plugin. Now you can see that there's this dialog here, and you can either go browse and find the zip file, or you can drag the plugin in here from your downloads folder. And once you've done that and you've uploaded that zip file, you'll click upload. Now you can see, because this is version 2 of this plugin and I had version 1 installed, it's asking me, do you want me to replace it? And I'm going to say yes. You won't get that if uh, if you've never installed this plugin before. Now you're going to see it says plugin is installed and ready to use. You can see that it's the Growth OS plugin. It's on version 2. The author is theCLICK. That's us. And then you can see some of the little quick start stuff here, but I'll get into that as we go. How we doing, Angela? Everybody got that? Feeling good, guys?
I think so.
All right.
Yes,
Let's rock and roll here. So
we are
now,
excited.
yeah, I'm excited too. So we're going to go into this Lucy Darling folder. You're going to root down into whatever folder you want it to work in. So you want to create a folder, and you can just put it on your desktop for now. You can move it later, any place you want. If you don't want to put it on your desktop, put it in your documents folder. You could put it anywhere that you're on your computer, put an empty folder. I'm going to do this Lucy Darling business because I just talked to these guys and I love that business. I think they have amazing products. And so I'm going to reach down into that Lucy Darling folder. Now remember, Lucy Darling sells books and toys and accessories and things for young families. And so I'm going to build my AI around this business so that I can work on this business. So you could do this quick start for clients. You could do it for your own business. You could do it for a business that you want to start. Maybe you just have an idea. You'd still run the quick start. Build a folder, an empty folder, and go here on Claude Cowork and select that folder. So for me, it's going to be Lucy Darling. There we go. Allow them to make changes. Yep. And now I'm working in this folder with Claude. I've got my plugin installed. Are you ready to rock and roll? So what we're going to do now is we're going to say, run the quick start. Okay. So that's it. Run the quick start and click let's go. Okay. Now, it's going to start running some instructions and different things that are built into this plugin. And in the meantime, I'm going to start showing you around here inside of Claude. Is there a question, Angela?
Yes, I have a question. And if I already run the Quick Start version one, what I have to do? I have to work in the same folder. What is
You'll
next?
work. So you'll work if you're upgrading your plugin. It's a good question. Thank you. If you're upgrading your plugin, you'll do a different process. So if I go new task here, okay, I'm gonna show the process. So I'm gonna root into my folder that I use all the time, Growth OS for Claude, and I would say update my quick start. Update the quick start. You could probably also say update my Growth OS plugin. And when I run that, it's going to detect that you've got a lot of this quick start already finished and that there's a few other tasks that you can now do, and that should work great. All right, so let's go back to Lucy Darling and a brand new setup here. So you see, I said run the quick start, and it said, okay, cool. Step one, let's get to know your business. And it says, first things first, what should I call you? I'm going to say, call me Russ. And it says, do you already have a business or are you building one? So here's a sort of fork in the road with this plugin where I ask you, like, do you already have a business or are you building one? And if you already have a business, you'll select this. So that's what I'm doing with Lucy Darling. So I'm going to say, I already have a business that I'm working on. Okay. It says, great. Going to learn everything I can about that business so I can be useful from day one. So the next thing it says is, and I just built this into the newest version because um, I do recommend that you go with the done is better than perfect philosophy with the quick start. What I want you to understand is that there is nothing that you are doing here that is permanent. Everything is going to be changeable, malleable. You can add to things, you can remove things, you can. So I recommend that you go with done is better than perfect. That said, some of you will want to, like, I want to get this really right. Like, I want to spend time here. I'm willing to put a half a day on this or something like that. Because the truth is you could get a business set up in here using the done is better than perfect in 10 minutes. Don't you think, Angela? Like, we've been testing this plugin for a while, about 10 minutes. Obviously, I'm going a little slower, but when you do this for clients or you do this for your own, want to build a new company or you do it for a friend or something like that, all you do is you build a new folder. So let's say I've got an idea for another business and I go over here and I build a new folder and I call this new, new co. So this is some new code that I want to build. I would just start a task, root into NewCo's folder, go to desktop, root into NewCo, open. So this is my new company that I want to start. And in here, you see that I'm in that NewCo folder. It's completely empty. And I want to start working inside here. I want to start building a business inside of this folder. I've got Claude X to it. I would say run the quick start. And what that's going to do is it's going to start a new quick start and it's going to start building out the business inside that NewCo folder. So if I have clients and I have 3 clients, I got NewCo, I've got this company here, and I've got Lucy Darling. I would work in these different folders when I'm working on my clients, right? And the quick start you can run as many times as you want on as many folders as you want. Sounding good? Let's go back to our quick start for Lucy Darling. So quick question before we dive in. I'm going to say done is better than perfect. Then it says, do you want to know how the system works or would you rather I just build the thing? Again, I would say just do the work, but if you're somebody who's like really curious as to how AI works and how Growth OS, the plugin works, if you take this route, it will be a little bit more explanatory as you go through about why you're setting things up this way and other things to think about. But I'm going to tell it just do the work. Now it's going to run off and it's going to be like, cool. All right, let's do this. Now, the next thing that it asks for is your website. So if you have a website, you see it says, what's your website URL? And this is a pretty cool little trick that this plugin can do, which is it's going to go look at the website and it's going to gather as much information as possible about the business. So I'm going to go ahead and give it the URL and let it run. Now, hopefully, without any snags. I remember I said, this is early days and Claude Cowork's a little buggy and I am working with no net at all. So hopefully everything works out. but like it's going out there and fetching that URL, and it's going to try to find and crawl that Lucy Darling website and get as much information as possible about what Lucy Darling is, what do these sell. Now, let's say you don't have a website or you don't have a website that you love, give it somebody else's website. Give it a website of a competitor, give it a website of, or if you're starting a new business, that is a great way to go is to say, I like this business. I'm not building exactly this, but it's pretty close. You can tell Claude, this is not my business, but I want to build a business like this. And that gives that AI a lot of context. All of a sudden, this AI is like, cool. Because look at what it says here. Good stuff. I got a solid picture of Lucy Darling from the website. Now, let me ask you about your social channels. So it's going to try to guess some of the social channels that you might be using, if any at all. And you can always type anything down here. So let's say you're actually using something like, what if I wanted to tell it that actually I do a lot of live event networking or something. Like you can put anything you want into this written part down here. And you could also tell it, yeah, I use Pinterest and Instagram and I do a lot of live event networking because it's kind of asking you like what platforms, like how do you go out and find customers? You do it through Instagram, Pinterest. So you can always type stuff in here and there's always usually a skip button in case you're just like, you know what, I don't want to deal with that right now. Let's just move on. Okay, so go ahead and click next. Let's keep an eye on, and you can do this too yourself. Keep an eye on the folder that you're building because this is the Lucy Darling folder that this AI is rooted into, and it's built nothing yet. It's collecting some information. So it says, do you have any of these that you can drop off into the chat? Now, I will tell you that if you spend a little bit of time here, it will pay off. So the more during this step, the more you give this AI up to a reasonable level. If you give it, don't give it 60 gigabytes of information, but the more things you can gather to drop into this AI right now, the more context it's going to build about what you're doing. So if you have screenshots, spreadsheets, PDFs, you can take photos of stuff and just dump it in here and let the AI start to cook. Let Claude cook. It'll look at all these images and these spreadsheets and everything, and it'll start to build like this understanding of what you might be working on. And the more it understands, the more valuable this tool becomes. So if I have a product catalog, I can select that. But these are just suggestions. I can say, stuff like, I have a lot of things I want to give you, right? As context. So I might have email newsletters and campaigns. So I'm going to run this. Now this is a part of this version 2 of this plugin is this question is dropping files into this chat. So if I have anything that could help this AI, you can see it's like, go for it, drop the files into the chat. I can read PDFs, I can look at screenshots, I can pull text from just about anything. So for example, if I go over here to Lucy Darling and I say, okay, cool, like looks like they've got Instagram down here I was looking at. So I'm going to pull up the web version of their Instagram page. And if I just grab a big screenshot of this, I mean, it's not the most organized thing I've ever done in my life, is just to grab a screenshot. But there's a lot of context on this page as to what Lucy Darling is. So could be useful for the AI to see a big screenshot of our Instagram page. So I'm going to drop that in to Claude. Let's say I've got a product catalog spreadsheet. I might drop that whole sucker in there. If I've got a bunch of emails that we've written, I wouldn't go grab 100 emails. I might grab 3 promotional emails. Or if I've got some ads that I've run, or if anything that you might have, spend a certain amount of time getting this stuff together and then just dump it all in here. Like just drop it, attach it, get it in there somehow. And also remember that you can always do more of this later. So just get a few things in here. If you don't have much, you can just say skip that. Like I don't have much right now. That's fine too. But the more you give it here, the more context this AI will have and the better it will perform for you. So I'm just going to drop that Instagram in there for now. I got this Instagram screenshot. Go. All right. So again, let's keep an eye on this Lucy Darling folder as we go. Anything else you want to share? Or are we good? I say let's just skip this now. Let's just say let's go, man. Let's move this forward. Let's go. Okay, so while it's building some stuff, I'm going to point out some things that are happening inside of Claude Cowork. Over here on the left, okay, so start left to right. We have the new task button. So tasks are basically new threads, right? You can see that right now. I literally just cleared out a bunch of threads that I had in here. So I only have 4 threads here. I've got this 2 here, and I've got this one that I'm working on. This is a promotion that I'm running for the Click Pro right now. It's $300 off, y'all. What are you doing? Why are you not in the Click Pro? This is crazy stuff. We're building cool stuff. Jump into the Click Pro, go to the click.ai, check out what we're doing over there, and join the Click Pro right now. It's $300 off. So I'm working on that promo inside this thread. I'm working in here right now. I'm working on this quick start for Lucy Darling. So threads are like chats or tasks, I'm sorry, are like threads or chats or whatever. We start a task and it starts to stack them up over here. We have a search capability. This is brand new as of this week. We can now schedule things to happen, and we will play with that here in the quick start as we go today. We will schedule something. And then you had that customize area where you can add plugins and other things. Okay, so that's that. Now you can see that since we told the AI the name of the business, we gave it the website, I gave it an Instagram, and then I said, okay, let's go. So this plugin goes and it builds this folder structure right here. Did you see that happened? And that is Claude building out the structure to start running your company inside of this folder. Now, I start to think about this like this is Claude's folder. Like, let Claude move things around in here. Let Claude write things. I want to show you the first folder I want to show you is this core folder right here. And I'm going to open it here. And you're going to see that this is empty right now. And what's going to happen going forward is we're going to start building out the core documents to run this company. So you can see that it says, here's what I found across your website. You got memory books, you got all aboard children's books, teethers, and plush toys. Does this look right? And I say, yeah, that looks good. So it knows what I sell. You can see that's phase 2. So it got to know the business, and we're moving into the mapping what you sell phase of the quick start. So it's going to start figuring out what we're selling. And that's a good thing. We want the AI to know, here's what I'm selling, here's how much it costs, here's a description of what it is. And so that's why when it goes and crawls that website and it finds all that information, that's good information. We want to save that information. And you can see it now built this file here. So inside of Core, it built a file called offers.md. And it's writing it right now. It's creating this file called offers.md. And I'll open it up in a second. And inside of it is going to be a description of what we sell at Lucy Darling or what Lucy Darling sells, right? So I've got here, let's open this up before we go on in here, because now we're moving on to phase 3. So we got offers.md. So this is going to look a little bit freaky because it's in Markdown, but you can see the non-Markdown version over here on the right. This is that document. It's got memory books, standard collection. It's got luxury collections. You would want to fix this. If you see anything in here that's wrong, you could fix it. But this is just a text file basically that says what you sell. And now you can see that the AI is trying to figure out your ideal customer. Now, why did I set the plugin up this way? I set it up this way because there's 2 critical pieces of information that you need to grow any business. The first one is, what do you sell? The second one is, who do you sell it to? So what are you selling and who do you sell it to? And particularly, what are this person's problems? What are their challenges? And what are their opportunities? What do they dream about? Getting a really good persona document put together here is step 3. And we want to spend a little bit of time here, but the AI is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting here. So it says, which of these pain points ring true for your customer. Now, you could look through the ones that the plugin, the Growth OS plugin is suggesting, or you could type something else. Like you could add other things, or you could add a whole bunch of other things in here. Like you could type out, maybe you already have a document somewhere with your persona on it. A lot of you that have been working with me on in AI for the 2 years that I've been running the Click Pro probably already have persona information. You just copy it and paste it in, right? Paste it in there or attach it to when it's got this little dialog box, you cannot attach things, but you could just close this and attach files and put information in there. But let's say you don't have much yet on your persona. You want to build, you're building something from scratch. Well, go through here and select the ones that you feel like are really nailing it and type anything else in here and go ahead and run that. And that's going to start to build out another file inside. I want you to watch right here, guys. Okay, so watch in here. You can see it says here are a couple sample quotes in Sarah's voice, and it says, she's already 6 months old and I haven't written a single thing in her baby book. I'll keep saying I'll do it this weekend. So these are pain and pleasure, what I call pain pleasure statements. And it's really powerful to understand the pain and pleasure states of your persona. Like what's the problem and what does it feel like to have solved the problem? And so if you read this and you say, that sounds pretty good, well, I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, move forward. If I don't like what that said, I could start to work with the AI to get these pain pleasure concepts correct. Cool. So now it's going to move into step 3 here and build the persona. So I want you to, again, keep an eye over here. The thing to wrap your head around with these new agentic AIs is that they are working in your folder. They are creating documents, they're editing documents, they are creating references, they're creating instructions. And I want you to watch because there's going to be a new persona.md file built in here that your AI, when you are connected to this folder, this Lucy Darling folder or whatever folder you're building, you can see it just built persona. This is just a text file that's got all the information about your customer in there. If you want to go in and edit it, you can and just save it right here inside the folder. Okay, so you see it says, now let me read the brand voice. Okay, so it says persona is done. Now every ad, email, and social post I write will speak directly to Sarah, which is the name of the persona that they chose. Now here it says, do you have a piece of writing that sounds like you? So if you want to uh, copy and paste something that you've written, or attach something that you've written, or even just point it to a URL where there's something that you've written or anybody's written that you like that voice, like you want that brand voice as part of your growth OS, you can do that here. So you can paste or upload, or I think you should be able to even give a URL. It should be able to go read something and pull it in, and it'll build that brand voice document around whatever you've uploaded. And I'm going to say use what you've already collected just to kind of move us forward here today. So, and then it says, what tone do you want to avoid? And I'm going to say, I really, Lucy Darling is not corporate. It's not salesy. I actually kind of maybe let's say we like this. I kind of like the baby talky, like cutesy type language. And I'm going to remove that. So and anything else I want to type in here about my voice, I can. And then I'm going to run that forward. And what that's going to do is build another document that is going to start to help to nail your voice. Now, remember, as you go forward, let's say you don't like what that brand voice is doing when it writes stuff or creates stuff. Just you'll just tell Claude, I don't like when you do this, and I don't like when you do that. Like I don't want any M dashes in my writing. Get the M dashes out of there. It'll go write that to your file so that it tries to follow those instructions next time. Seems like it's really hard to get the M dashes out of there. Okay, so it gives you a little bit of does this sound right? Does this sound good to you? And if you're cool with that, you can say, yes, sounds good. Now, while it's working on this, and it's going to build another file for us. Let's talk about the right side of the screen. Over here, again, this is a graduation from chatbots to agents. And agents are able to take multiple steps. You can see it just built this brand voice document that contains the brand voice that we've set up. And again, this is not permanent. I can make changes to it, but you can see it's moving through the phases of this plugin and it's keeping track of it over here in the progress. And it will often do this when you are working on something that it has to make a plan and has to take multiple steps. You'll see it list out these steps over here. Now it's going to move into this folder. So I've got the 3 core documents built here. I'm going to close this and I want to look into this folder now. See this, guys? Routines. So in here, we have an empty area. And what I wanted to do with this plugin is help you understand what a routine can be inside of an AI like this. So the way I'm demonstrating this, because I think this is super valuable for me, and a lot of the Click Pro members that have installed this are saying, like, I built this in my morning routine, etc. So you say, what information do you want first thing in the morning? Let's say I want the weather, and let's say I'm going to tell it I live in St. Louis, Missouri. So just to keep it simple, I just selected the weather, but you can have it do many things. You could have it go fetch your calendar, right? You could have and pull your calendar information in. You could have it go pull up the latest news. You could have it list out a to-do list, but you can see that it now wrote this file inside of my routines folder. So in the routines folder now, there's a file called morning routine. And the only thing that this will say is to go pull this and display the St. Louis weather. That's all mine will say right now. And I'm going to say, yeah, schedule that. Okay. So I'm going to say schedule it. Now it's going to ask me a little bit more information about what I want to do schedule wise. So I'm going to say run it at 7 a.m. just on the weekdays. Okay. So now my morning routine at 7 a.m. will just run. Like it'll start a new task on its own and it will run the morning routine. Now, my personal morning routine does a lot more than just shows me the weather. I've got this morning routine. It goes and does some things. It suggests different content that I might want to create. It goes and pulls my task list from my Notion. So I use Notion for keeping track of my tasks. And my AI is able to connect to Notion. So it just goes over and grabs my to-do list and I can have that displayed in my morning routine. It does several things. I won't get too far into it, but I want you to understand that at any time you can tell this I want you to add this to my morning routine or add that to my morning routine. Try to think big about what you might want your AI to do every morning for you. And you can just literally tell it, I want you to start doing X in your morning, and it will go and it will update this morning routine and it will start to do it. So you can see this asking me if I want to schedule this. So I hit, yeah, let's schedule that. Let's go for it. All right. So several of you on here are Click Pro members. And those of you that aren't, I want you to know that we're running a $300 discount right now. We are doing some awesome stuff with AI. I'm building lots of plugins like this that do really, really cool things. We get together, we're working on growing these businesses, we're getting each other unstuck. Like the Click Pro is like my baby. I love it so much and I love the members in there so much. And right now it's 300 bucks off. If you've been thinking about joining for a while, this is the time to do it. I haven't discounted the Click Pro in over a year. And I don't know when I'll do it again, but I felt like right now, if you're going to make this jump, this is the time to do it. If you want to build something, this is the time to do it. Get into these tools early before everybody. I feel like we got 6 months to a year before the world catches on that all of this stuff is available. And we're in here building cool stuff. So I'd love for you to join us. Maybe, Angela, maybe you can drop the link to the click.ai so they can find out more information in there. Okay, so we are through phase 5, pretty much all downhill from here. It's pretty much done. So step 6, it does on its own, and it's going to build this little file. For those of you that care about sort of a little bit of the technical side of how this works, it's going to build this little file called CLAUDE.md, and it'll build that right up here at the top. And you see it's writing Claude.md right now. Now, every time Claude looks in a folder, if it sees a file called Claude.md, it's going to read it. So it's essentially the Claude.md file becomes the overarching instruction as to how your Growth OS plugin works, how your Growth OS folder works to manage Lucy Darling, right? Or whatever your business is. So it creates like this core set of instructions. Don't edit the Claude.md file. It's not that you'll break something. It's that Claude sort of maintains this document. Now you can open the Claude.md file and read it, but I wouldn't adjust it or change it unless you're really like you look in there and you see like something you're like, I don't want that in there at all. But you'd also just be better off to go back into Claude and say, hey, I see you have this in the Claude.md file. Get rid of that. Like, I don't like that or whatever, and let Claude go maintain its own file. So that's really Claude's file right there. You see it's called Claude.md. If you're curious, open it up and read it. It's pretty interesting, but it's kind of the overarching instructions as to how your, not my, your Claude works. Because here's what's going to start happening, and it's already happening, is that your plugin is custom built for your business. This is key. There's not general rules in here about how, how to do marketing. This thing knows now who your customer is, what you sell, and what your brand voice is. It's got a morning routine set up so that you can start to add to, right? And I want you to start thinking about that. If you play around with this for a couple hours after we get off here today, I want you to start playing around with adding things to the routine. Like just add something simple, like a manifesto, or tell it to give you an inspirational quote every morning or whatever. But then start to get even more into like, what could I really tell it to do? Like I could tell it to go look at this or go post that or go pull this or go push that. Like, and it starts to get pretty cool. So the last step in the Growth OS plugin is it says, do you want to see the growth ideas I came up with? Now, this is also a new feature in the version 2 of this plugin. And what's cool about it, I'm going to say, yes, show me. What's cool about it is that I used the same marketing framework that I've been teaching people for feels like centuries. The customer journey is built into this plugin. And so it's going to organize a set of ideas for you as to how to grow this business based on the customer journey framework. So it should come back with some really like when I've been testing this and I've been using it in my own business, you can see that here is one, two, three, four, 5 ideas around driving awareness for Lucy Darling and getting it in front of the right people. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ideas here. The second goal is leads. So we got awareness, leads. How could we get more leads? Well, here's 3 ideas for that. How about sales? I want to work directly on sales conversion. Cool. Here's 3 ideas around sales. And then retention is about keeping customers and keeping the ones you have happy and selling more and more often to the customers you already have. And here's 5 ideas around retention. And so the last step of the plugin is here's a bunch of ideas to grow this business. And it says, I'd recommend number 1 or number 6. You can listen to it or not, but you might say, which of these ideas do you want to work on? Give me the numbers, pick as many as you want. And what it's going to do is it's going to start to keep track of these things. So it's like, let's say we like, I want to say, let's go with ideas 2, 4, 7, and 9, right? So I spend some time looking through these ideas. Maybe I don't like any of the ideas, but I got a feeling if you look at it, you're going to like some of these ideas. It's a combination of the framework, the plugin is working, and the intelligence of Claude that is going to probably give you some really good growth ideas. It says great picks. That's a solid mix. Let me save the full ideas list. So now it's going to create this folder or this little file called tasks here. You see that little file right there? Okay. Idea number two is something you'd want to do regularly. Do you want me to build it as a workflow? So that's the last lesson, and we're going to go a little bit over time. We usually try to do this in an hour, but usually goes a little longer than an hour. And this recording will be available as long as you're on my email list at theclick.ai. So if you have to jump off, I understand. But like idea number two, it's asking if we want to build this as a workflow. So it's the last folder in here is workflows. And what starts to happen is if you tell the AI, while you have this plugin installed, if you tell the AI, I want to build this as a workflow, it's going to start to build out the instructions to do this workflow. In this case, it's idea number two, which is repurposing in Pinterest. And so I'm going to say, yeah, let's build this as a workflow. Now, at any time, you could tell the AI, I want to build a new workflow. What ideas do you have? Or I could say, I want to build this workflow, this specific workflow on around LinkedIn or around any work, right? Building a newsletter, like any sort of work will end up in underneath a workflow in that workflow folder. So watch what happens. I say, yeah, let's build this Pinterest workflow. Now, here's an interesting question. It says, how do you want to track your ideas? And it says, do you want to do a simple checklist? Do you want to organize it by marketing objectives? Do you want to use a tool that you already use, like Notion or ClickUp or something like that? Because that will start to walk you through how to get connected to Notion, how to get connected to ClickUp, things like that. I'm just going to say a simple checklist, and it's going to start building the Pinterest workflow. Do you see it right there? It just started to build this folder for me, and it creates these outputs and skills. And inside of skills, it's going to write me a skill file and a workflow file. And what starts to happen is it's going to start to work with you to get this work done and it'll keep writing skills. It'll keep updating how the instructions it needs to eventually do this for you the next time much, much more quickly. I mean, it doesn't mean that you won't be involved, but your AI will start to learn what you like and how you want it set up. And this is what I mean when I say move slow and fix things. So if I was going to build this Pinterest workflow right now, and it was my first time, I would probably set aside a little bit of time, like maybe an hour, to get this workflow in a position where every time I want to run it, it just works like clockwork. It's just like boom, 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 right? So I run it and then I tell it, no, I don't like that. So I really want you to get this through your head that all you need to do is just keep telling it what you want and keep telling it how to fix this and keep using your own expertise, your own eyeballs, and saying like, well, that's not good. I don't like it like that. I like it like this. And I want to do it like this. And let the AI start to build out the skills, the instructions, the reference files, the images, like whatever it needs in order to keep doing this job. So you can see that, less than an hour ago, about 45 minutes ago, this folder was completely empty. And the plugin and Claude work together to build out a structure to the business. And this structure is written out in these Claude instructions right here. And what you've done, if you've gone through this with me today, is you've built the skeleton of a business in here. And from now on, this AI will know, like, put this over here, put that over there, and it will just start to learn your business and start to work through your workflows with you. It'll start to run routines like your morning routine, but you can set up more routines. Anytime you want to set up a routine, just tell it, I want to start a new routine. So let's go through a few of the things that are set up in here now. If first to go back to the start here, remember that when you start a new task, you need to choose the folder that you want to be working in. Well, if I want to work on Lucy Darling, I need to go connect to Lucy Darling. I don't want to be connected into new code. So I'm going to root in here, and I might say, now that I've got this Pinterest workflow here, I can just start to say something like, all right, and just give it a big, all right, let's work on repurposing some Pinterest posts. And it's going to know that it needs this skill right here. It's going to know, all right, cool. You see, it says, let me read that skill. And it's going to start walking out. And if I start to add to this process or take away from this process or change this process to the way I want it, it will continuously just keep updating this skill file, this workflow file. It might create references like, here's what good looks like. Like, this is the final result that we're looking for. That's great stuff to add. It's going to sort of interview you to help you get to where you want to go, right? Like, and that ultimately you're going to have the outcome that you want. Okay, I'm going to pause here. That's the sort of end of the quick start process. And now let me answer any questions. Usually there ends up being a good set of questions by now. So the skills file gets built by the Q&As with Claude. So Nicole, good question. Yeah, I mean, it it does, but you can also tell it, build me a skill. Like, I want you to build me a skill. So let me go through some examples here. Let's go back into a new task here. Let's say right now for Lucy Darling, remember Lucy Darling sells stuff for young families, to celebrate the fact that they have young children, keepsakes and stuff like that. So let's say I'm sitting here and I'm doing some work on this business, and I say I'm going to use my voice to to text app called Whisper for this, and I'm going to say, all right, let's work on some new offers that we could roll out to our customers at Lucy Darling. Okay, so I'm going to tell it, let's work on some new offers we can roll out. I'm going to say, let's go. So I'm working in the Lucy Darling folder. Now, remember, this thing already knows what I'm already selling. It knows my customer. It knows everything that's in here. It's working with all this context in here. And if I start to, you can see what it did right off the bat. It said, let me pull up your current offers and persona. I got a solid picture. It says, what kind of new offers are you thinking about? New physical products, bundles, or gift sets, digital products? Now I might say, let's go with bundles. Are you looking to serve your existing customer Sarah better or reach a new audience? I'm going to say, no, I like my persona. I think let's rock with that same persona. So we're going with our Sarah persona. We want to build some bundles and gift sets. And it's like, cool, bundling. That's a smart move. You've already got products that pair well together. And so it gives me some bundle ideas. Now I might work with this AI for a little while and come up with a brand new bundle idea for this business. And here's the important part. Okay. At the end of this whole process, if I'm like, I do that all the time. I want to be able to build bundles like super fast. Like, I always want to be able to have the AI just go and build bundles. What I would do is I would say, okay, thanks for helping me build out all this information I need for these bundles. I want you to now write a skill that will take me from idea all the way through to completely documented bundle ideas for this business. Write that skill now. Okay, so you can see that my quick start plugin ran this and created this skill file around Pinterest. And if I tell it to do this, what it'll start to do is it'll build a new workflow, or it should. See what it does. And this one, not the best example in the world about building bundles. I want you to sort of get the idea that you can build a workflow around anything and that the AI will start to build out that workflow around pretty much anything. What format the final documented bundle be in. I didn't go through this enough, but like, it would have been cool to like maybe even get some concepts for product images that I want and all that stuff. So it's basically like, how do you want the final documented bundle? I might say, build that in a Word document. How deep should the documentation go? Let's give it a full spec. So anytime you're walking through something that you're going to want to do again and again and again, go ahead and stop. This is why I would say move more slowly and fix things and build a workflow around that. Just keep telling the AI, write the skill files, write the skill documentation for that so that I don't have to do that again. Like, in other words, what I want to be able to do is just to tell Claude, like, hey, I want to work on some bundles this morning, and it will go call the right skills. It'll go grab the process that we use to create bundles at this company. And it's all documented. I mean, think about it as though you are creating dozens and dozens of SOPs You can see that it's created this new workflow called Bundle Builder, and it's starting to write the instructions. It's basically like having a bunch of standard operating procedure documents, but people actually, the AI actually reads the SOP, like it doesn't just sit there and collect dust. So you can see that Bundle Builder is starting to build out the structure it needs in order to create bundles from now on, however I like them built. You see it's building that skill file? Like, let's open this skill file and look inside of it. You can see that it's got a description as to what the bundle builder is, and then all it is a set of instructions. And remember, I didn't do much with this. I didn't like spend an hour building out a bundle with the AI, and then at the end, I say, roll this all up into a standard operating procedure so that the next time I tell you, like, I want to work on bundles or I want to work on Pinterest, a repurposing, you just go and you call in your SOPs and you start to run us through working on that particular thing. So that's what makes this agentic system work, is that these skill files, each skill handles a different task. And what gets crazy is when you see your AI start to think through something and go and connect to something else, right? It might go connect to some external source like HubSpot, Notion, Gmail, Zoom. Like, the last thing I want to bring up to you guys before we duck out of here today is that the crazy thing is that it is building out all these standard operating procedures so that it can help you keep on doing work, but it's also able to go do work. It can go and push and pull information in and out of external systems like Notion, Google Calendar, Gmail, Slack, Zoom. This is my setup as of 2 weeks ago when I built this slide. I've connected a couple more tools to this, but this is pretty much where I am today too, where I'm able to connect to Beehive so I can check, because I send all my email through Beehive now. I can go check my email stats in there. I can go grab content out of Beehive that I've sent through email. I've got Zoom, so it can create meetings. It can go grab registration lists. It can go grab transcripts. It can do all that stuff. I've got Slack. It can publish to Slack, so I can message people in Slack. I can pull documents down from Slack. I can basically control Slack from Cowork. I'm able to create and check and alter emails in Gmail. Google Calendar is fully open, left, both up and down. I can push things into Google Calendar. I can pull things down and information from Google Calendar. I use Notion as well, and it's connected there. And then, of course, it can connect to your browser. We won't get into that today. And it can search the web. So this is what makes this an agent, plus the fact that it keeps writing out all these skills, right? And it keeps figuring out how you like to get work done and helping you get more and more work done. I really encourage you to take an hour now that you're fresh in your brain, you've got this thing, and just start to tell it what you want. Maybe implement some of the ideas that the plugin gave you. Maybe just start to roll down the path of trying to get one of those implemented. Remember that you can always start over. Like, maybe if you're just getting started with this, maybe the idea is build a test folder, run through the quick start, and play with this thing for about an hour and a half. And maybe at that end of that hour and a half, you're like, I love what I built here. This is great. But the second thing might be, okay, I've got a really good hang of this. I'm going to build a new folder and call it Lucy Darling again. And I'm going to build Lucy Darling again now that I know more about how Cowork works. I'm going to run through the setup again, do it better this time. That's another route to go. So play with it. Consider, if you're not a member, consider joining the Click Pro. This is the time to do it. It's $300 discount. And we're in here building businesses using these awesome AI tools, helping each other out. It's pretty awesome. All right, guys, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Say goodbye to me. Let me know if you liked this training, if you got something out of it. I hope you did. Well, guys, see you next time. Bye bye.